Mountaincore is such a really cool game. The concept is much like many of the other sort of colony buildy, city buildy, tower defense buildy kind of games you've played in the past. It has definitely a lot of RimWorld going on, how you lay it out, how you set it up, how things work. But there's a couple of variations that I think make the gameplay fun, and then, of course, dwarfs. So let's get into it. We're going to start a new game. We're going to choose the kingdom name, Drax Land. Can you put an exclamation point? Drax Land, so that everyone has to say Draxland every time they where are you going? Draxland. We're going to pick medium seed. We're going to play not on peaceful mode, obviously. And then we're off to the races. Welcome to Mountaincore. This is the early access release with gameplay and features still in development. Your intrepid band of Dwarven settlers has chosen this area to find a new colony for their kingdom. Provide the food and the shelter and the prosperity and, all this stuff. All the good stuff will happen. So we got to start by finding a place to settle. And we can see here that the green areas are, and this is like places we can mine. We want to settle with some trees because we're going to need an epic pile of wood. You can see stuff here in the rocks. Wow, okay. And we can move, and the mini-map on the bottom right corner here, we can kind of move around quickly, actually. So I think it's a pretty obvious winner here. Here's where all the trees are. All right, I think this is it. I think this is where we start. Maybe in a little bit. Hooray! We've found our little colony, and now a lot of what's going to happen, if you've played any of these other kind of games, will feel very, very common to you. You've got a bunch of stuff dropped here in wagons as sort of the starter, right? And then you got a bunch of fun little peeps. Look at them. Look at them. So good. And then the basic areas here are down in the bottom left. We've got orders, construction, rooms, and priorities. We've got the mini-map here. This is such a really cool feature. Look at, you can make the mini-map bigger or smaller. Games of the world, take note. Look at how easy this is. I love it. I love this feature. It's so simple, but yet just fucking awesome. Then we got layers, default, priority view, so we can look at what priorities. We can look at if there's a roof or not. We can see piping when we get it and electricity. We'll keep in the default view. Then we've got the classic here. Here's the day of the week, and here's how fast the game is going. Pause button, space bar. Yep, that's what's happening. So good. And then you have military, settlers, and resources. Resources breaks down like everything you have. You can see a bunch of different stuff. We want to go and look at it. We'll spend time in the settlers category, especially in the beginning and then throughout the game. This is where you tell them what they need to do. And as we can see here, a lot of them already have assigned tasks. We have one farmer, a miner, a blacksmith. These people are hauling. I would guess that we make one more of these people, and this is pretty simple. A farmer, we just can assign it, and we can reassign these. They aren't set in stone. And maybe we make, I don't know, maybe we make another person a woodcutter. If we go and click up here, we can tell hey, we've got 3 farmers. That's another really cool thing. Woodcutters, we have 1. So we should definitely get another woodcutter. Let's make this person a woodcutter also. All right. So that's the basic layout here. Pretty straightforward. Tells you how many citizens, how many if you have any military. We've got immigration on, so people will come, hopefully. And then what we're going to do is we're going to begin to lay out the town. Now, this is, like most of these games, I think you can move stuff around, but I think this is so critical to getting it to run efficiently. This is my second time through the game, and so I've had a little bit of experience sort of how I want to lay it out. Let's see if I can do it right this time. So first things first, we will go to orders, and I'm going to chop down some wood. So I'm just going to come in here and tell them, hey, clear this section. So the 2 people I have that have sort of just hanging out will start chopping wood. And maybe we'll make another wood chopper just for now. One of my beefs is that you can't, and if the developer sees this, you can't click on a tree and say, chop this tree down. I would love to see that in future releases. And then we're going to set rooms or zones. And you can see here we've got like a bunch of different ones that do a bunch of different stuff. We're going to start with farms first. And these are pretty simple. You just click on it and then you want to lay out how you want the farm to sit. And we're going to do a couple of them. And I'm going to try to not screw this up. I don't know if we should go north. We should go south. These wagons are kind of blocking the way. So maybe we do something like 4x4. And then we can come in and tell it, hey, what do you want to grow? I'm going to grow potatoes in the first one. All right. And then we can expand it and remove it. So that's pretty straightforward. And then our little farmers are going to come over and start planting. We're going to do another one. I've been leaving like a gap in between, but I don't know if that's actually important. So, but I'm going to keep doing it because that's the way I play the game. On this one, we're going to do hemp. So we can make some bedding kind of stuff later. And then on this one, we'll do, I don't know, carrots. And then this one, we'll do tomat, maybe? I don't know, what do you think? Barley? Guess we could do wheat. Let's do 4 to start. Let's do 4 to start. There's no rhyme or reason to this. This is just what I've like kind of learned. I think we should actually do a bunch of them more, but for now, I'm gonna start with this. Next thing is we need a place for, so we're building all of these. It's just a matter of like, in which order do we build them? We're gonna build a stockpile, and you'll see here that it says, hey, you can build a stockpile for food, for fuel, but take note that these can be changed at any point. I'll show you here in the next screen. So the first one we're gonna do is tools. Let's put one down for tools. And this game has a great tutorial, by the way, and I think you should play it first. It kind of gives you the how-to on all of this stuff. This video will also be a very good tutorial, if you know what I mean. And then, let's see, I don't know where do we put all of these? The big thing about these stockpiles is that they need to be covered because the rain and the elements will rain hellfire on your tools. Trust me. It's going to take a while, but they will. All right, so let's just build some storage here. And if we click onto this and see this little stockpile setting, we can come in and it's going to tell us what it's going to do. All the tools. It's going to take all the tools and do them. And then I would say, hey, why don't we do weapons too while we're at it? And now they should start unloading the carts and dropping them into this area for storage. We're going to build another stockpile as well. And we're going to build it right next to it. Maybe. I got to pick it. I got to pick it. Pick the stockpile, Drax. Pick the stockpile. This one we're going to do raw materials. And this one's actually going to be a mixture of raw materials and regular materials. We're going to make this one bigger. And then I'm going to come in and say, hey, raw materials and probably products as well. And this will begin to move all of this stuff in. Wouldn't it be great if I could just cut down this one tree? All right, so to get rid of this one tree, we're just going to come in here and do this. You can see the first night is falling. I didn't prioritize getting them a place to sleep. They'll be fine on the ground. They'll be fine on the ground. See? Look at how happy they are. Sleeping on dirt in the rain. Not cool. Our next step will be to have them have some place to lay their head. And this is going to be communal sleeping in the very beginning. And I'm trying to do better at not like squishing them all together. I'm like such a grid player that I'm like, make it in a grid, make them all close. And I will still grid it up, but I'm going to try to be better at like making it so there's some room to expand. Room to expand. Want to let them sleep near the water? Do something like this. This actually doesn't need to be too big in the very beginning, because we just have a few of them. Let's do 6 by 4, and then once we do a room, you can see that here it has exactly what can be put into the room, which I think is a good way of doing it. Instead of like, okay, so you got a room, now what do you put in there? Like, it's very clear. This is what can be put in there. Now, we don't have enough of anything to build a bed, so we're going to build these little sleeping spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to do this because I'm going to put some stuff to make this covered so they can sleep without being wet. 2, 4, I think, what do we have, like 7 people? 7 people right here. All right, so then tomorrow night they'll sleep here. Under construction, there's a bunch of different fun stuff. There's build, roofing, power and water. Yes, there's power and water. Demolish and cancel. We're going to go here and we're going to say pillar. We're going to make it out of wood. And we're going to put a couple of pillars down. And then we're going to put a roof over the top. And you'll see the view allows you to see which tile of outside no roof above, light blue, dark brown. You can add and cancel options and queue up roofing to be constructed and demolished. A roof can only be constructed within 3 tiles of a pillar. All right, so I'm going to come in here and say, hey, cover these guys up. And right now it's going to say, hey, I can't do that, but we're going to put priority on these pillars so that they'll get built first, and then they'll come in and put the roof over the top. Now, the next thing we're going to do is start our whole construction process. And that's going to look something like rooms. We're going to need a sawmill first, and then a carpentry workshop. So we're going to say sawmill. Let's come in and we'll do this one right here. And you can see the ropes are different colors telling you what they are. So I think that's kind of cool. And then the sawmill is a wood cutting bench, and I'm going to make it out of wood. And I'm going to go, I don't know, like this. And then we're going to do imports and exports. And we're going to go more into this, but for now we're just going to build an import and an export. And you can see here that we've got a construction guy he's knocking this out. He's got the pillars up. He's going to build the roof. Maybe tomorrow they won't sleep in the pouring rain. And then you've got the haulers who are hauling the stuff off of the wagons and putting it into the area here. And let's do more chopping here. Just so we've got some more wood. We've got a lot of wood right now. In the top left corner here, we can see that there is a little wagon icon, and then this shows you all of the items you have. And if you break it down, you can see you've got 339 rations. We've got 2 barrels, some hoops, some buckets. And then on the raw resources, we have 66 logs. So it gives you sort of a heads up of what you have. I think it's nice. We didn't get the roof. Man, that day and we're on fast mode. It went really fast. We can see under construction roofing, we can see that they only got a little bit. Also, remember, if you wanted to see the roof, you can come over here, top right corner where it says roof view, and you can see what's covered. All right. The night is passing quickly. As we begin to construct the areas, it'll tell you exactly what you need in each area. And we're going to be lucky because we're going to have a saw and axes. It gives you enough to sort of get all the stuff started. I think this is a good idea for the game, but I think it also makes it a little hard if you wanted to do like a hard mode where like you need to start from the beginning, like with nothing and just build up. I don't know how they'll maybe achieve that later. You know, maybe making some of these things not need, like, I feel like this is the sawmill, right? Let's slow this down a little bit. And so this is sort of how you're going to make planks. And you can't even begin to make planks unless you have a saw and an axe. I understand what that is, but I just think it's a little tough if someone wanted to start with nothing. And maybe their game will just never be that way. It'll just never be able to start from nothing. You know, like in RimWorld where you can just drop with nothing and just get started. There's something about that homesteader in Drax that wants to see like, I got nothing and I'm going to build it all up. All right, so they're going to build this. They're getting the roof done. And we're going to roof in the rest of this stuff as well, but not before we build a couple more areas. The carpentry is going to allow us to build tools. We're also going to do some smithing. I'm trying to decide what's next. I think what's next is... let's build the carpentry workshop, and we'll build it right next door to it. Do we not have someone to build this? Under construction is what it says. And then this one has got a bench just like everything else, and we'll come in and say, hey, we're going to put this here, and then we're going to do import, export. Do. It says that is everything. It's just waiting to be put together. And then we can come and tear these wagons down once they're empty, and they're going to get some nice resources out of them as well. Where is everybody? Oh, they're sleeping. Look at them on their little mats. They've planted everything we had. And you can see you shouldn't make big ones at the beginning because you've only got a limited amount of seed. So making these huge plots won't do you any good. All right, let's continue to put the rooms down, shall we? Let us put down a feasting hall and a kitchen so they can prepare food. So let's put this kitchen right. Should we put it down here by the food? Something like, I don't remember. It needs to be a good size. Something like this. And then you can see all the stuff that goes in here. A water barrel. Let's put it on this end. A butchery thing so they can butcher animals. This is like storage. I guess I could have made that out of wood as well. We'll do 2 of those. A cauldron, which we already have. A fish barrel for when we get fish. And then, of course, the import and the export. All right, I really want them to build this thing. Looks like they're working on it. Drax, they're working on it. Did he finish the roof? Hey, all right. So you can see now that this is roofed in. Is that... those are elephants. Cool. I've never seen elephants before. All right, so that's up. Now let's build some place where they can eat. A hall, a feasting. Maybe we'll do something like, we'll make it big. And then you can see here, we'll make this of wood as well. Some place where they can sit and eat. They each need a chair. And they won't all eat at the same time, so it's not really important, but we'll just give them all a chair. A cauldron so that they can get the food when it comes along. A beer tap, which I'm not going to build for now. A water barrel, which I'm going to put a little closer in this way. I'm going to build another table. That's why I kind of made it bigger. And then, yeah, that should be good. Should be good. Hey, they've got it. All right, so the carpentry workshop is ready to go. And there's a few things we need to get it going. And that is, if you go here, you can look at what can be crafted here. And you can set limits on them. So let's say if you want them to make 5 barrels, you could set, hey, I don't want any, keep 5 barrels sort of in the limit. Hey, I want 5 chests, whatever. You can mess with these limits. But the other way to do it is to say, hey, I'm going to import planks, and I want to export a fishing pole. And now they'll make fishing poles forever. So if you could do it that way, right? Instead of having to deal with this in here. Or you could say, hey, just keep making me shields or whatever. This is dangerous because they're just going to keep making fishing poles until they run out of stuff to do. So I would almost come in here so that you don't forget and say, hey, just give me 1 fishing pole. So as long as we have 1 fishing pole in the place, they won't make another one. And so someone will come along here. Let's make sure we have somebody that can do this kind of work. This is a carpenter. We have 1, so he should be able to come in and do that. In terms of wood cutting, we need to do the same here. The import, obviously we need to import logs, and we're going to export planks. I would come in here and set this as well so that it doesn't always just be churning out planks for the rest of your life. I would limit these to say, hey, I don't know what this number you want this number to be. 50, 25, 100. Like you're gonna need a lot of planks. I'm gonna set it at 40. So as long as there's 40 planks inbound somewhere, then they won't make them. But if we drop below 40, he'll start making planks again. So sort of like RimWorld, right? Just sort of, this is how it's done. And obviously we don't have 40 planks. So and if we come and look here, we can see we have 4 planks. So he's gonna start making planks. This should be the first thing you make. The sawmill should be the first thing you make because planks are the building blocks of everything in this game. Well, the early building blocks, that is. All right, they're back to the mats again. It looks like I still need to get some, I need to move seeds in here. So I'm gonna come into this storage unit and say, hey, somewhere, oh, there's one that's called seeds. I'm gonna move seeds in there as well and they'll move them in there. So once the fishing pole is made, then someone will just become a fisher person, a person of fishing, a fisher. We're gonna make this person fish. And so when they have a fishing pole, they'll just go out and get fish. It is an early game food hack. I highly recommend doing it first. I did it as fun in the very beginning, but it really turned out well. They made a fishing pole, they go out and fish, they drop the fish, they make the fish, everyone eats fish. It's great. Do it, fish. All right, so we've got wood set up. We've got they're gonna build this as we get more planks. This guy's just gonna make planks and make planks and make planks. We need to cover these, that's on our list, but I think we should do a couple more things before we start building roofs. Fuel refinement, we're gonna need some fuel to get the rest of the stoneworks. The stoneworks is like a big bunch of steps, right? Smelting and smithing, and masonry, right? So I think we start, this produces most items made out of stone. So I think we're gonna start here. And I think we'll do it right here. I'll make it bigger because I can't remember. They'll come in and they'll move all these trees out of here. Yeah, so this is a stonemason's workbench. And we're gonna come in and say, you wanna make it so they don't have to like walk around every time, right? So let's put it right in the middle. This is an ore crusher that's gonna take metal. And it cannot be rotated. So I guess we're gonna put it right next to it. And then of course, our famous import and export. I'm gonna put these on opposite sides because I'm gonna start mining some stuff out of here. I went bottom left, orders, mine, and let's just take this first batch. And this will produce some stones for us. All right, he's making planks. The planks will go here to a carpenter. Oh. Hey, we made one. We made it. There it is. Our first fishing rod. So now the fishermen at their leisure will come and pick it up and go fishing. And that'll be probably the first bunch of food that we make. I love this ebony wood. Look at it. I've never seen this. Ah, this game is so good. So good. All right, I'm like waiting. What is this? So this person is a farmer and a woodcutter and also a fisherman. And we can move these around, right? So we can say, hey, they're a fisherman first. Then that should force them to go and fish. See, it worked. Look at that epic beard. This is another beauty of the game for me is that like I don't need to like say, hey, go and fish and do this and get this, right? They're just this part of it, it's not too micromanagey, right? This person's just gonna grab it, they're gonna go fish, we're gonna watch them pull the fish out of the ground, out of the water, come on. Or not get a fish at all. Then they'll take this fish and drop it here and the cook will come in. We've got a cook, right? We got a chef? We do, we have a chef, sweet. All right, so you can see they're mining and taking stone. Let's tear this one down as the last cart. So we've got a nice little start here. All right, so this is masonry. And then what we're gonna do is say, okay, masonry, and then we need both of these, a smelter and a smithy. A smelter and a smithy, smelter and a smithy. Used to craft metal tools. And this is to create metal. And we're still a ways away from that, but I think we'll just slowly get all this stuff like in place, right? We also need a fuel refinery because this is going to help us create coal, which is what, of course, the smelter is going to need. Let's put a smithy here. I don't know how big it should be. We'll just make it gigantic. It didn't need to be that big. So I guess we could come in here and say, hey, it's a good way to show you that we can make it smaller. And then we can put this down. And then, of course, import, export. That's the smithy. And then a smelter, which we're going to do the same. And it's got a cool bloomery. And then import, export. And then I think what we'll do is we'll build a fuel refinery, and we'll put that right here. And that's got a couple things. It's got a charcoal clamp, which is just, you put a bunch of wood in, it cooks off and makes a charcoal. And then you've got a coke oven, which is when we pull some coke out of the ground, it'll make it into charcoal. So this is sort of the basic set for stone. Let me show you something else while we're here. These are gems, unexplored. This is iron ore. It's going to be very important. When you're mining, you can get cave-ins. So I would suggest when you mine to leave a pillar like this so that you don't get horrible cave-ins, right? And so maybe just come in every so often and leave a little one so that you don't get cave-ins. All right. Got some wild horses here. You can click on the crops and it tells you like where they're at in terms of growth. Did our fishermen get lucky on the fish side? Guess we've still got some work to do on them. We've still got some work to do in the kitchen. I've kind of doubled down. I guess let's set priorities so that this stuff gets done first, right? That's done. This is done. This is the only thing that's not done in the kitchen. We already have one. All right, so then import, export, of course. We're going to import, this is if we're going to make beer. And then export, same kind of thing. So these aren't necessarily needed at this point. When he catches a fish, they'll slaughter it. They'll put it in this fish barrel, and then they'll cook it up and serve it to us. Let's definitely finish this first. Let's finish the kitchen first, huh? And they're drinking the water out of the... So having a water barrel close to them because they need to keep drinking is better. They'll go to the river if they need to drink also. All right, so I would almost argue that you need to get the sawmill up, running, and just producing planks as quickly as possible. And then something to remember is like when stuff is stopped, right? If you're like, why isn't this working or what's going on? It's because you've run out of raw materials, which is what I do all the time. And what you're going to run out of a lot is, of course, logs. So you just need to keep them a-chopping, right? And the same will happen with stone. You're going to run out of stone. Like a roof won't be getting finished or something won't happen and you'll be like, what is everyone doing? And that's what will happen is that it won't, this is another thing I might ask the developer, like, hey, like the sawmill is stopped, right? And you're like, wait, why is it stopped? Or you've run out of something, you can make like something that tells you, hey, you've run out of it, just as a heads up. Cause you do get into like managing other parts and thinking about it. And then you go back and think, okay, why aren't they constructing this? And so that's just, I think I'm telling you, I'm giving you my experience. Just make sure that you've got your kind of base materials coming in the door. Hey, they're doing ebony charcoal clamp. So they loaded a bunch of wood in here and now this will cook off and be, we can export it, I think. Yeah, we can export fuel. And right here, I think we can import crushed ore at some point, but we're a ways from that. I kind of want to let them build out the rest of this, but I also had a really bad experience recently with everything rotting. So I also want to get these roofs on. And I'm going to do just a giant roof over the top of this. And we'll let them build the posts first, and then we'll come in and roof it off. And we may have to, like, this may not be enough. We may have to put another thing in, but trust me, this needs to be something that you think about very early on. These are taking rust damage, and they will just disappear. They will go into a rust pile after a while. And this is something that, like, I don't think the game tells you very well about, but all the buildings should be covered, because anything that's sitting out is rotting. And this is an early access game, and I think as we move forward, they'll probably, just like in most of these games, it'll be like, there should be some kind of dialogue saying, hey, it's at 72%. And if you don't put this under a roof, you're in trouble. So as the sun rises on this, the 9th day, you can see the basic setup and how the game works. And I think if you're looking to say, how do I lay it out, or how does it play, or how does it look, this is just a great first look at how I'm laying it out and how the game works and how the mechanics work. I think get them covered in sleeping. That'll help. Make sure you cover all your tools early on. Like I said, Sawmill first. This should be going and making planks like mad. And then I think things like the Carpentry Workshop, build yourself a fishing pole and get them fishing. That's it. Early game, great food. Keep an eye on your wood and your stone. We did a little bit of mining here, and you can see we've got some sitting on the ground, which means that we're ready to start making some stone blocks. Farming is the very first thing you should do, which we did at the very beginning. I love this game. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Game is Mountaincore, absolutely amazing. Add it to your wish list, or heck, just buy it. It's in early access now. Thanks for watching. The video's over. Now it's time for you to do your part. Follow, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.